Are are we live? Yes, we are live. Hello, everybody, and welcome to one of my Saturday streams. And as you all could probably see, this Saturday we're getting another Dungeons and Dragons stream. Oh shit! I oh um damn. Okay, Wood Bogus. Danger, danger, danger. Well then, give me a second. Let's take a look at what exactly danger. I have to destroy whatever I'm doing. This causes an irrevocable systems failure, and whatever I'm doing, causing me to blow it up, burn it down, or cause maximum possible destruction. Oh no. Yeah, welcome, Crazy Seth. We opened up, and Wood Bogus immediately dropped the danger. Well then. No, Lotus. So, Wood Bogus, we have a conversation to have now, as you've chosen an option that I probably should disable for my D&D streams, but is actually very exciting to have picked. Now, if I could take a quick moment to transition over. As you can see, I had planned on following what we had discussed last time and going into a big breakdown of all the background of my characters, their past party members, their current ones, how people came into the party, and yay, Juniper, yeah, and some of their stories. But Wood Bogus, having dropped a danger on a D&D stream, I'm gonna say, I'm gonna give you an option. Something very special. This does mean I might have to delay my planned background development, but just earlier today, I was starting to work on an upcoming encounter my party was going to have with a group of bandits. So, Wood Bogus, you still out there, buddy? And are you ready to give me some of your ideas and opinions on what you want to have happen with this stream now? You've shown some serious commitment and caught me with my pants down. Well then, Wood Bogus, we've got a couple of options. Now, I don't want to be a big fibber and just cancel my current planned stream, since it's kind of what I had already prepped for and what I told people I would be doing. But with your redeem, if you're feeling up for it, and if everybody else in the chat's feeling a little up for it, you guys might actually have an opportunity to postpone the character backgrounds and instead help me build and balance a few encounters for my party. Essentially, handing over some of the balance reins for the next encounter dominantly to Wood Bogus, who dropped the redeem, but to everybody here to have a little fun building. Seems fun? Well, it seems like a lot of the chat's into it, but Wood Bogus, if you were really looking forward to some character backstories and meeting everybody and knowing what's going on, I'm not going to take that away from you. No, Junie. If you want to stick around, that's fine. I'll have some secrets I'll keep hidden, even if my party members are here in the chat, but I am not gonna tell you guys you can't be around for the fun. So, Wood Bogus, would you like for me to stick with my plan? Talking about backstories, introducing you guys to all the different characters and learning a bit about them. Or would you rather help me in building out and balancing my next planned encounter? Or you guys can actually help me prep a surprise encounter the party might encounter later on. This is entirely, though, up to you, Woodbogus. As the Redeemer, you've got some reins now. Though I will be taking everyone else's suggestions into account as we're building. Yo, Akuji, you made it. However, something very fun has happened, and one of my members just dropped a very interesting redeem. So now chat might be helping me build an encounter for my party. You still out there, Woodbogus? It's a lot of pressure, I know, but what do you want to do? If everybody else wants to do the balance thing, then I'm down. Alrighty then, guys. First things first, though. I'm actually going to start us off with a quick poll. If I can remember how to do this, I believe it's /, right? Hell yeah. Just because we're going to need one thing, and that's going to be what type of encounter are we building? And the couple of options are we can balance my planned encounter. We can create a surprise encounter. Or let's think, what would be a good third option? Surprise, balancing what I have planned, or hmm. I think I'll stick just with these two actually, because that should be enough. So I'll put the poll up. Now everybody go ahead and vote on the poll, and everyone, even my party members, has full permission to get involved here. Your choices are basically, are we going to be editing and changing things around and helping me create the next planned encounter I had for my party? Or would you guys like a full, starting from square zero, create a custom surprise encounter that I can end up rolling up or the party can accidentally stumble into? Now, there are some party members here, so we might have to leave a few of the details simply up to me. Where it could happen, what might cause it, or how it begins. But we're going to go ahead and have ourselves a fun, dangerous time today. We seek a bloodbath. Okay. Understandable. Honestly, if you guys could just give me a second, though, I think I need to do a quick edit to a lot of stuff right now so that I could get us actually set up and able to do what I'm planning. I did not plan to actually be using alternate windows here. So we'll have to see if this can work. Let's see. All right. Oh, yep. Looks like that'll work. So let's get this fireplace shrunk down and a little out of the way for us so that we can have some real-time building today. All right. And it looks like the votes are in. And everyone's coming into creating a new surprise encounter for us. All right. In that case, I'll go ahead and get ourselves onto a new Roll20 page. Ooh. Get out of here, you. There we go. All right, let's just get my chat overlay up and running. And let us jump on into it. Now, let's see. Tarrasque trapdoor, perhaps. A bit over-leveled. While I'm willing to let us make something very dangerous, something very imposing and shocking, I'm not going to be throwing something like a Trask just at a level 6 party. So, in fact, let's go ahead and introduce you guys to our victims. Let's see here. I'm going to get everybody on the board, and we could go over a little bit about the combat abilities, prowess, strengths, and weaknesses of everyone in the party. I love how Eric has a sadistic voice. Oh, thank you so much for noticing. So let's see here. We'll put fighters in the front, these two in the middle, and cleric at the back. Alrighty then. A mimic galleon in a swamp that has a pet mammal and a nice rock. You ever seen the Boddock stat block? It's one of my favorites and it would be scary for a level 6 party. Okay, so the Boddock is one suggestion. However, let's do a quick rundown of the basic abilities of my party. First up, we have Malachite, who is a level 6 ranger. She has, however, chosen one of the UA rangers. She is, in fact, extremely tanky and very good at getting stuck into the middle of combat and at a certain stage growing to an enormous size to give her bonus health and resistances, though that ends up getting her stuck in place for a long time. Rasmussen is a dwarven fighter. However, he's a battle master who uses many maneuvers involving a crossbow and whip. He has a lot of ranged and movement options. He's relatively tanky, but not in the way you would expect a fighter to be, simply by having a lot of health and having the mobile feat that allows him to move around very easily on the battlefield. And yes, we are going to be building for 5th edition. Next up, we have Perch, who is a member of my homebrew race, the Shades. He is a tanky character, able to give himself resistance similar to a rage, and who starts with a decent health pool. However, he wields a greatsword and has chosen the Savage Attacker feat, meaning he's able to deal out pretty decent damage with each attack every turn. He's not a class built for damage, but he's equipped himself to do some decent amount. Next in our mid-range, what we have are two very dangerous characters that are going to be the chief members to keep in mind when creating a dangerous encounter. As these two, I will give them full credit, are my most successful min-maxers. On our left, we have Tortuga, a wood elf monk, a character whose, I think, walking movement speed at this point is about 50 feet, meaning when he uses a key point to step the wind, he can cross an entire battle map twice. His standing AC, I believe, exists at 20, and using his key points, he's able to make 3 to 4 attacks a round using Stunning Strike and dealing a d6 per hit. Next to him is, it's 60 movement speed at the moment, actually. So he's very fast, a high base AC, though low base health pool. Next we have Valandria, who is an elven, I believe it's blade dancer or blade singer. A type of wizard actually based around combat. When she goes into battle, she can enter a stance that gives her base AC a boost to 21, making her AC something that's nearly impossible to break through, especially as she always keeps a shield in her pocket, able to cast it as a reaction to increase her AC to, I think, around 25 at a moment's notice. She also possesses the Fireball spell, Haste, and Blur, all of which she makes good use of to get several attacks in a round, maintain an extremely high AC, and have good movement speed. However, if you can get through her AC, either through saving throws or other things, her health pool is still that of a wizard. And do keep in mind, she's flavored herself to be very fire-based in her attacks and spells. And finally, the support of the group. One of the most powerful base classes in the game. We have Pharaoh, our cleric, and a life cleric at that. She possesses all the classic spells of your clerics, being able to create massive AoE with her spiritual guardians, though she is always a dedicated healer in combat, keeping people from dying, either stabilizing them or healing them whenever she needs to. She does wear medium armor instead of heavy to allow herself the ability to fly, and she doesn't use a shield, instead holding aloft her spear one-handed while she casts, or two-handed when she gets stuck in. So there we have it. A party made of 3 general tanks, all of which have some decent damage output, 2 characters, very focused in damage, though with insanely high ACs, and your classic example of a cleric, ready to support anyone who ends up getting focused down, or provide a wide range support with either bless or spiritual guardians. Now that we have everything introduced, is there any information anybody would like to know before we start? We can, of course, build for any scenario as we're creating a surprise encounter, but if you would like to know the current environment they're in, what they're going around doing basically, or things we can throw at them that they've seen or not seen already, feel free to ask. But if we just want to dive into it, we can. Shadow Assassins are nasty, a CR9 upgrades of the CR1/2 Shadow. They're also a lot of fun. Alright, a CR9 seems a bit out of balance for my level 6 party, but we can definitely take a look into them. I'm hearing Astral Stalkers would be good. They hunt down worthy prey like the Predator and can be used as recurring characters. Interesting. Invisible Stalkers are very fun. So, we could use a type of Spellcaster to get around the AC. Of course, the Spellcaster is very dangerous for this party, particularly one that it comes equipped with the Counterspell, as this would allow the countering of such clutch plays as a Fireball, the Haste, or the Blur action. However, do keep in mind that Tortuga is a monk that has an insanely high initiative and movement speed, meaning, round 1, if we have a single caster on the field, he's very likely to approach it quickly and snipe it before they're able to get off even a single spell. Have they crossed anyone recently? Oh, I wouldn't say they've exactly crossed some people overly intentionally, though they have done some interesting actions of late. They have unintentionally or intentionally cuckolded a prince, though he doesn't hold a lot of sway in his kingdom. They ended up lying to him and helping a lady he was interested in break off his courtship in exchange for a magical sword. They have also made enemies of a hag, though she lives a very long way away from them. Her connection to the Fae means she can always send some interesting Fae, especially dark Fae creatures, to them through the woods. They are currently in pursuit of a character known as the Judge of Pelor, a famous knight in the area. Though he does not know they're on his tail, his presence does allow for some interesting options. Yes, Juniper is here, and she's the one who plays Pharaoh the Cleric, so keep that in mind. Honestly, it sounds like we're very interested. I'm seeing a lot of suggestions for astral stalkers, shadow creatures, but something more monstrous. Not something that's humanoid or even draconic in nature, but we're wanting something either abyssal, dark fae, or something a little scary to encounter. Is that what everyone's currently feeling right now? Because I'm starting to think it is. A band of misty bounty hunters. Scuff, scuff, scuff. What's up? What's happening? All right, are you wanting me to just go take a look at them? Very well, very well. So, Misty Bounty Hunters. Well, let's see what we get when we just look up some bounty creatures. Ooh. Seems like there's nothing like the. Oh, your headset cut out. Understood, understood, Gremlin. Well, it looks like we don't have anything quite in the, at least, already preset bounty hunters. So I'm thinking let's go ahead and limit things down a little bit. It sounds like we're a little interested in aberrations, fae, monstrosity, or undead. Would everybody agree with kind of narrowing it down to those four groups? Something a little more horrifying and a little unnatural. Okay, misfits. Then I'll clear this up and take a look at what a misfit is. But after that, misfit. Hmm. I'm not seeing a lot of that. Or are you just saying personality mind? Are you naming specific creatures right now, Gremlin, or just personality types? Let's go ahead and just narrow this down to a 3 to 7 range for now. Let's organize this by CR. A group or okay, so kind of an anti-party. That's definitely an option. I do actually have prepped a few homebrew type characters I could throw into an anti-party if that's what people are feeling. Though it could be fun for us to just take a moment and look through some of these options and see if anything really strikes us. Wood Bogus, are you still out there? As the Redeemer, I'm wondering if you have any suggestions on where you would like us to start. Does the party have magical or enchanted weapons? They have a few. In fact, they just recently got some from a group of bullets that they had fought. Right now, though, what they have equipped is they have a staff of warning, meaning surprising the party will be impossible. They have a handful of +1 weapons. They have a magical club that when they hit a creature shocks them, taking away their reaction. There are boots of elven kind, something called a whisperer's lantern, allowing them to be very stealthy, and a few other odds and ends. The chief one that would probably affect our considerations in combat are going to be the Staff of Warning, the Poison Dagger, and I think for things that'll really change up combat, just that. But keep in mind they have a few +1 items available to them. All right, you don't have any suggestions right now? That's fine, that's fine. So far it sounds like something we could be interested in, and I'll go ahead and get this written down, would be an anti-party as an option 1. So we'll go ahead and pin that down as option 1, an anti-party, a group of powerful figures to surprise and fight them, though we'll have to come up with a reason for it, of course. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Wood Bogus. I hope things maintain enough that you at least get to enjoy our process here. All right. So, option 1 that we're looking at is an anti-party. We'll come back to that to build, as I just want to get a full options list up for now. So let's go ahead and take a look through some of the options kind of within this realm we're looking at. We've got assassin bugs, basilisks, cave fishers, a Dalgnot. That is a emaciated hobgoblin with disease-hued flesh. That is interesting. Philorins, flying horrors, mimics, giant slugs, zombies, grell, hook horrors, a kobold vampire spawn. Interesting, interesting. Madcaps. Now, madcaps are interesting. A very classic fey creature. Hmm. The classic minotaur, the Neogi, owl bears, phase spiders, and red caps from where the madcaps originate. Let's see. While moving, they have disadvantage on stealth checks. While grappling, he's considered medium. A kobold with a bag of boomerangs. No, Lotus, we're not creating your character to fight you. Wow, that's always a fun idea. A spectator. Thorndurst. Trapper. Interesting. Vampiric Mist. Banshees, Bone Nagas, a Chaos Quadrupod, the Chull, Decapus, Drowned Assassin. AK channel points reached. Okay, Gremlin. I got you. You're going to try to make another surprise encounter, aren't you? Well, we could always have a bit of fun with that. Ooh, the Lamia. A seductress. Though the party isn't in a desert, it could definitely be rethemed a bit. The Semshine. Wow. Wow. Why are they being hunted? Who hired them? And why? So, the party has interacted with a few figures in the distant past as well. Many of the party members were involved in the killing of a debt collector's crew in order to protect someone that they were escorting from one location to another. So, someone hired by a very angry banker is always an option. As I've stated, there is a hag who is extremely upset with the party, so I could see her reaching out to some other fey creatures to send them on the way to deal with these meddlers. There is a level of nobility within the nearby city that has grown distasteful of many of the party members, and they've had some encounters with some of the underground in the area. There's a monster called the Abishai. They're kind of cool, but I don't know if it'll fit. Well, I'm just posing before you pick who is hunting them and set up the background first. Fair enough. So instead, we shall start with the background options. So, for people going after them, ooh, that got ugly very quick. Let's go ahead and mark them up as an angry banker, a spiteful hag, a scheming noble. Oh no. Oh no. Scheme. Oh shit. Oh shit. Bad noble. Man, this is just embarrassing back to front right now. Let's see here. So, or a criminal underground. There we go. So, here are 4 options to consider. A hag and a prince would hire 2 different types of hunters, agreed. And a banker would hire some pros, where the prince would hire more hunters. Agreed. So now that we have kind of these 4 options, I guess we will have a very poll-heavy stream today. So, who is hunting them? A banker? A noble? A hag? Or a criminal? Hey, Sagmas, you are back with food, and have you considered Cthulhu? Now, I could send mind flayers, of course, though that would come a little out of left field for the party. No, no, no. We must vote. The poll has been placed about who is coming after the party. What do you think? Is it the banker that they had protected someone who owed him a significant amount of money? Is it a member of a noble family that has seen the party's recent endeavors within the nearby city and has decided they are not acting in that person's best interest? Is it the hag who has had a magically cursed eye stolen and destroyed? Or is it the criminals of the nearby town they were in who feel a bit like they've overstepped themselves and need to be put back in their place? Go ahead and vote, vote, vote. We've got a minute left, and from there we will know how to build this encounter that will come for the party. I personally like the hag. It's a bit more interesting. That is fair. Playing around with some of the fayish creatures, especially if we want to give them a darker theming or a couple of extra abilities, is always fine. So let's see. Time is running out. Only 6 votes in. Where shall this threat come from? So, this is the who and the why of the scenario. Exactly. Once we have the exact who, I'll tell you a bit more about what happened. And it looks like the hag wins. So, we're going to be building a scenario around the hag. So, everyone can learn a bit about what happened. The party several weeks ago, well, 2 weeks ago, really. The party took a mission to go into a cursed mansion and clear it out for a down-on-his-luck knight within the nearby city of Auten. If we go in Fey, Yeth hounds are Fey creatures with some cool flavor. Maybe the hag sticks a pack of them on the party. Definitely an option. But the party had gone into this mansion, having heard that it was haunted and that the original owners would like it back. All they were told is the man who technically should own it was a child at the time that the building was abandoned, that his great uncle, who was the original head of the family, had been working on creating autonomous servants, suits of armor that would move about and do the tasks of the servants. However, one day they seemed to go insane and started killing people in the mansion until everyone fled. No one has been back in over 10 years until the party arrives. Going into the mansion, they eventually have several fights with these enchanted suits of armor that try to kill and get rid of the party from the mansion grounds, but they're able to kill them all, eventually making their way to the master bedroom of the mansion. There, they find a corpse in its bed, presumably the great uncle. However, as they go to examine the corpse, they find he is technically still alive, his eyes writhing in his skull, stained with green veins growing throughout them. Reading through a journal, they find out that he had been exploring on how to make truly autonomous creatures for a long time, but had not found luck until he had gone on a vacation to the far north and encountered a strange magical woman who taught him a secret that he had desired to learn. The symbol he drew upon all of his suits of armor that made them autonomous, however, stole a portion of his wisdom with each new creation, until eventually he entered a catatonic state, being cast into the realm of nightmares, which happens whenever a creature's wisdom reaches 0. And so he was sat in this bed, technically alive, unable to die, for over a decade. The party put him out of his misery, and as they did, the eyes rolled from his skull. When the party picked one of them up, they looked like cursed, horrifying things, and so they crushed the first. Picking up the second, though, they halted as a voice spoke to them through their minds, and the eye looked at them. It seems this eye belonged to the hag who had taught this man the trick, and that these were her reward for the boy having gone too over the top with his magic. The party, however, refused to bring the items back in exchange for anything she might offer, and crushed this eye as well, depriving the hag of these very powerful items that she had been building for a long time. So now the hag regularly scries on the party and occasionally attempts to invade their dreams to learn of their past and what she can use to trick, trap, or get her revenge on the party. Now it seems, with Woodbogus's danger, she's decided to step things up a bit and make her first prod against the party to either wound, injure, stress, or send them into the dark curse she wishes for them. Hag covens are covered in the monster manual. There's an overall coven CR. If a hag is part of a coven, its CR is 2 higher than normal due to additional shared spells and hag eye. Hag covens are CR 6-ish. Wait a second. What is it, Gremlin? And I would say, don't take the hag's straight CR level too seriously with this particular hag. She has been around for a long time. Yes, and hags do tend to form covens around enchanted or cursed eyes. They're very powerful magic items, and this party destroyed 2 that was going to belong to this hag as an individual. Yes, true. I would say, though, this hag is very old, very powerful, and might have friends around. It's true they could have more than one hag after them. So, a definite option we can have is that the overarching matriarch might be sending an individual hag after them, who would of course bring along her own posse of creatures to back her up. Are we D&D or Pathfinder? Baba Yaga is a great example of a hag. Yes, she is, though technically she would actually count as an archfey. But I do agree, she is a fun influence to keep in mind for this particular hag. And yes, we are Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition. Yes. Yes. Now that it's been brought up, what hag eyes are generally used for, the creation and holding together of a coven, I do like the idea of a lesser hag, either who had been promised this eye, or who heard she could receive one, might be coming around to eliminate this group. Now, this won't be a night hag, actually. Unfortunately, our models are a bit restricted, but for now, I'll use it as a good example. Oh yeah, D&D is always fun. Hell yeah. So, I think we have our first piece on the board. It won't be a night hag, it'll be a green hag. So if we want to take a quick look. We'll use a generic green hag for this lesser hag that's coming after the party or has been sent. Yes, there are several types of hags, but for now, I think we can definitely look at an Annis hag, but they tend to be a little less spell-focused and much more physical in nature. I still like the idea of it being a green hag in this particular case. CR3, they have casting, which we were definitely looking for. Though their spell casting is a bit limited. They can cast Dancing Lights, Minor Illusion, and Vicious Mockery. Hmm. We'll definitely look into what other spells she might know. The party is very prone to neutral actions, I believe, would be the best way. Mimicry. Hags can mimic animal sounds and humanoid voices. That is true. She has her claws, though we'll hopefully keep her out of melee combat for as long as possible. Also, illusory appearance. The hag covers herself and anything she is wearing or carrying with a magical illusion that makes her look like another creature of her general size, meaning the hag can approach as the appearance of a person. This changing will hold up to physical inspection. They could appear to have smooth skin and someone to. Oh, the changes wrought fail to hold up to physical inspection, so we don't want her to get it too close in this particular case. They can also, at a moment's notice, turn invisible, allowing them to either escape or initiate combat from a stealth position. Very useful, though less so when the party has a weapon of warning. What's good about organizations, you could slowly send stronger challenges at the party, making an arc out of the conflict. True. And we're definitely starting in this direction. So, if I can have a little story with you all. This dark hag, whose magical artifacts were destroyed by the party, has been in the world for a long time. For reasons unimportant right now, she has not returned to the Fae for nearly 1,000 years. In her time where she has collected many magical items and has grown greatly in power. Her influence is very focused, though, in the particular woods she occupies. Though when a man came to her for help, she saw the perfect opportunity to begin forming hag eyes. Either she might decide to try and use them herself, or there might be something to be bartered away to other hags for more influence or power. I have, in fact, seen Legend. There's a short scene with a green hag, and it's really good. Yeah. Amphibious. The hag can breathe air and water. True. That is very interesting. No matter how fast or powerful you are, we all need air. I like it. However, while she has been spying on this party that destroyed her rightful gifts for a long time, she has no desire to leave her woods, even to seek vengeance. But she's now figured out their exact location, and they are near a region with a very thin connection to the Fae. Perhaps now is the time to play her first card. She contacts a weak hag she knows to live somewhere in that area. One she can break the will of if she so needs to, but is powerful enough that she believes will be a good measuring stick for this party. She contacts her fellow green hag, telling her that a group of adventurers in the area had stolen a magical item and she desperately wanted it back, and that she would pay this hag whatever was needed for its return. She didn't, of course, actually want the hag to return it to her and had no intention of paying her, but she knew this would be enough to pique this young hag's interest and get her to go full force after a party. So now we have a young hag, hungry for power, believing she'll be able to snatch a magical item of a more powerful creature for herself, if she can but slay a small party of adventurers in her neck of the woods. In an Undermountain campaign, I Am in Water has killed more players than any other thing in the game. Yeah, unfortunately, a lot of my players do have either very high constitution or my Warforged member can't ignore needing to breathe. So, we might have to avoid using a purely water-focused kill. But we're now open to how we want to build the party. They don't pay you enough to... That's true, Perch. Hello, Milkblade. He's the one playing the Warforged Perch, who doesn't need to breathe. They do sink, though. So if you can keep them down, you can at least eliminate them from the fight. Hey. So, we have a young hag trying to overreach a bit, thinking that she's facing a small party that she plans to steal a magical item from. Sea hags live in dirty, underwater layers surrounded by marrows and other aquatic monsters. Sea hags are amphibious, can create problems for adventurers with their illusions, claws, and death glare. Okay. We could go with a sea hag if we're so interested. Though, I'd like to focus right now on what has this young hag brought with her. She's confident in her magical abilities. She's certain she can deal with a small party of adventurers. But she's still going to bring around some creatures to help her. Now, let's narrow things down even more and try to keep things all within the Fae, I believe. Now, some interesting creatures a hag might bring along. I'm a fan of the bullywog, not sure if it's Fae. Alright, I'm willing to go look up a bullywog, because that sounds amazing. The bullywug royal. Doesn't look like they have a base form, though there is the bullywug royal available. We'll just take a quick look here. Lower this down to 2 and this to 5. And we'll definitely build around this. The Will-o'-the-Wisps used to be Fae, though they are currently undead. They do like to, however, hang around with evil creatures. So, in the game, one of the players is sleeping with a hag and ended up controlled by a doll. It wasn't very funny. She uses the doll like a voodoo doll, and the areas she pokes turn silver and become useless. She turns his eye at first, the other parts when he refused, and now he's slowly buying his parts back one deed at a time. They're in swamps. Yes. So, that is an interesting suggestion. How does everyone feel, first and foremost, for this particular hag to have been clever or evil enough to attract the attention of a pair of will-o'-the-wisps? She would mostly use them as spies or creatures to distract or pull the party away. There we are. A pair of will-o'-the-wisps. Yes, which our party has actually fought before, though they weren't being all-out killers at that time. 5e is still a little foreign. That's no problem. I could definitely fill out a lot of ideas here by trying to look for some more things. There we go. So we now have our core member, the hag, and a pair of scouts, spies, and distractors in a will-o'-the-wisps. Yes, just don't punch them. Now, what else should she have? She, of course, needs a couple of characters around for muscle and defense. Things that are a little bulkier, maybe a bit more monstrous in nature. We could go with a Yeth Hound, as certainly an option. However, I want to take a look, actually, at some cursed plant options, as those always tend to be a little fun. An awakened tree is an interesting option for her to have with her. Something a little cursed and awakened by her, I do like. They have an AC of 13, meaning they get hit pretty easily, and have only an HP pool of 60. Their to hit is relatively low, though if we're using them as defenders, that's not too much of a problem. Grimmsnarl, Toad Mother. Let's see here. Kelpies are interesting. A wood woad. What is this? It's a powerful plant humanoid form infested with the soul of someone who gave up on life to become an eternal guardian. Not quite right. Oh, the classic. The shambling mound. They trudge through marshes, rainforests, consuming any organic matter in its path. A rolling heap of animated vegetation looms up, half again as tall as a human. An AC of 15, an impressive hit point pool, though I imagine resistant to fire. Not at all what I thought. Oh, Fey Touched Bullet. That might not be a base thing in 5th edition. Oh no, I definitely spelt that wrong. Let's go with bullet. No? Just bull? Oh, I'm still in plant. 1 second. Here we go. How would we Fey Touch a bullet? Or bullet, whatever you prefer. I find myself going back and forward simply because calling them belays are fucking hilarious. The mound is death. I fear those things. Yo, bye. No. It's no problem. In fact, I don't have an issue at all with homebrewing a belay a little bit. I like the idea of making it Fey touched. So how shall we Fey touch it? Belay with a... Well, we can of course use a template, but I would like to hear people's suggestions. What passives or other abilities do you add to a creature to make it feel more Fey? So you can make anything Fey with the Fey Touch template. I understand, and I'm willing to go to the template, but... Let's see, and I should in fact have, if I'm remembering correctly, some bullet... Let's see here. There we are. Yes, I'm quite liking the look of this. A hag with a pair of wisps as her scouts and eyes. A shambling mound as an unintentional follower. A creature that she is not actually entranced in any way or made a deal with, but something she has found a trick to controlling, either offering it meals in the correct path, illusions, or some other form of trickery. And a Fey-touched bullet. Make it breathe fire, come full circle. You can add mold and other plants. You can add sparkles. That always works. I do like that. But I'm more thinking, what would be a fun effect to add to it? So Fae, I know, are immune to charms and sleep, which could be an interesting option. Ooh. Do tell me if you dislike this idea. But what about giving the belay the ability to breathe out some type of spore from its mouth? Either a type of poison spray, or if we want to go more interesting, some type of sleep spray. A cone coming out of its mouth of spores capable of knocking creatures unconscious. They do leap into combat, so making their leap maybe longer ranged or more mystical in a fashion is also good. Ooh, sleep spore, sleep breath. Okay, sounds like everyone's really liking that. So, the spore breath weapon. Very well. So we're liking a sleep spore. Okay. Well then, let's go ahead and maybe do a little crafting. Let us create a monster. We'll, of course, be using the bullet template. Could make it a Fey magic warp instead of a leap, but also I don't want to fight that. That's fair. So, we're creating Fey touched bullet. So, as you can see, they already have a very nasty bite with a lot of damage to it, and a deadly leap that is able to knock creatures down while dealing damage, both bludgeoning and slashing. So the first thing we're feeling is a spore breath. Let's see here. The creature emits a 30-foot cone of enchanted spores from its mouth. From its moth. Apologies. Let's see here. Now, I'm actually going to need to find some inspiration for how best to balance it. Tree teleport is very fey and scary if you could do it at will and come at you like a teleporter. That is true and interesting, though bullets already have a very fun way of approaching, much like a land shark, burrowing underground with a large fin coming up. Also unaffected by difficult terrain? Yes, I think I like that quite a bit. So we're going to be looking, maybe not just sleep, but let's see if we can find any other spells that do some sort of sleep effect. Let's see here, though. How does sleep work? So they roll 5d8 on a normal sleep. Is there any other spell, though, that can knock people unconscious? Let's see. Well, okay, spores are more likely to cause hallucinations. That's true. Though these are enchanted spores, so we're allowed to break the rules just a little bit here. One shark for the win, just like the one is. Okay. I think actually what I'm going to use for a basis here is something that a lot of creatures already have access to. So let's see. We're going to go to rules, go to monsters, and we are going to find, let's see here, what is a classic one? Basilisk. Basilisk, I believe? There we go. And we're going to, I think, base this a bit of how petrification works. So there will be a DC Constitution saving throw. On a failed save, they begin to fall asleep, which I like. Okay. The saving throw effects on the failure. The creature is asleep. All right, so I think we're going to go ahead and just directly steal this text right here. And we are going to go ahead and plug it in. How about instead of sleep, you go with paralysis, where they're fully aware of what's going on. Way scarier than sleep. We can definitely take a look at that. Basilisk is scary too. What he said, being awake is way more scary. All right. So, the creature emits a 30-foot cone of enchanted spores from its mouth. Let's see here. All creatures within this cone must make a DC. Now, this is going to be a bit stronger than a basilisk's petrification, as we're not really petrifying anything. So just baseline, because it's not as hardcore as petrification, I'm going to up it to 14. And because this is a specially made bullet serving this little hag, we're going to give it just one more +1. The creature must make a DC 15 Constitution saving throw. Let's see if the basilisk, blah, 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 blah. So we don't need that portion. So we'll cut that. On a failed save, the creature magically begins to... No. The creature begins... Ooh, what is some good wording here? Gotta pump those numbers up. Should make that illegal. Make it 18. Okay, that's a bit rough. That is a bit rough. The level of the poor adventurer. The poor adventurers are level 6. So, they don't begin to turn to stone. They begin to... What would it be? Seize? I believe, begin to seize and stiffen as their muscles bind. As the muscles... No, as the muscles begin... They begin to seize and stiffen as their muscles begin to... what would it be? Freeze? Begin to... Petrify is obviously the wrong word. Begin to... I could say begin to paralyze, but that doesn't quite feel right. If they save, they could lose function of the limb at random. I'm not going to take an exact limb, but I think we're going to stick with kind of this idea of becoming restrained and then becoming paralyzed. So... as their muscles begin to constrict. Thank you. Perfect. So, on a failed save, the creature magically begins to... begins to seize and stiffen as their muscles begin to constrict and is restrained. It must repeat the saving throw at the end of its next turn. On a success, the effect ends. On a failure, the creature is not petrified, but, let's get rid of that entirely. Paralyzed. The creature is paralyzed until... like how rigor sets in. Exactly what I'm going for. Now, how long should this paralysis set? Keep in mind, you get 2 saving throw attempts to not become fully paralyzed. So that means, I feel... without any interruption, it should probably last a baseline of 1 minute. So they'd be paralyzed for 1 minute. Now, there's also going to be some conditions, or... too much food, what have I done? Oh no, Sackmas, what have you done? Paralyzed for 1 minute, or... should being damaged break this? I believe not. I don't think being hit should break this paralysis. It's not an illusion or an enchantment, something that could be shocked out of you. Yes, so 1 minute is 10 rounds, so everybody knows. Essentially, if you get paralyzed, you're going to be taken out for an entire fight at that case, unless someone's able to break it. So, these spores are... magical in a sense. So, should the spores from this creature still be effective once the creature is knocked unconscious? Maybe. That could work. Obviously, there's a logical sense that in a living creature, the spores still affect even once the creature is dead. But I think there's also the option to say it is magical, kind of like a spell originating from the creature. The spores are most definitely magical. They're from a fey touch, not from an inherent mushroom living inside the creature, I'd say. Yes. Or until the creature is knocked unconscious. The creature is... until the creature loses consciousness. I definitely spelt that wrong, but whatever. Loses consciousness. I think, additionally... the effect is ended whenever the creature... let's see here. I actually have to go back and take a quick look. It's affected by... I'm going to, I believe, also keep the greater restoration. Yes. On a fail, the creature is petrified until freed by the Great Oration spell or other magic. I believe I'm willing to take that in as well. I believe that makes it sense. Let's see. If magical, it should end, or end shortly after. I like an effect that peters out. It's like a land dragon. I am liking it. Do you like the idea of the creature being overgrown and possibly controlled by a hag by way of a mold? So, yeah, that could be another option, is that the creature is actually like a symbiote. Think like a lichen between some type of mold the hag controls that is infesting kind of this bullet or bullets. Now, if the creature's knocked unconscious, we'll say the mold is also still knocked unconscious since they are a symbiote at this point, so the effect still ends. But I think that adds a very interesting flavor to it. Exactly. So I very much like this boy. Though, do we want to add one more feature to him? Increased movement speed, a type of teleport, or just something passively unique about him? I do like the idea of giving him the basic Fey ability, if I can find it. Let's see, where is it? I believe Fey Ancestry is what it's called. Where they simply also gain advantage against saving throws and can't be magically put to sleep themselves. In fact, I love it. As a creature able to cast a sleep spell in an area, I think I'm going to give them Fey Ancestry. Or Fey Symbiosis. We'll go ahead and bold this up. Fey Symbiosis. You have advantage against saving throws, on saving throws against being charmed, and magic cannot put you to sleep. If we didn't dumb luck our way through stuff like it already, it'd be sweating a lot more. Still sweating though. Milk, yes, Milk is one of the poor players. In fact, he's one of the frontliners, meaning he's very likely to have to deal with this boy. I like it. And we'll, of course, now add a little bit of a Fey. So I don't think this is a Fey touched bullet anymore. This is a Fey infected bullet, which I quite like. Now, being Fey infected, perhaps finally we should do a little bit of something something to its stats. I believe the armor class should remain the same. The creature is using the bullet's armored hide very intentionally. However, due to it being infected in a degree and kind of taken over by a mold that is more dependent on its hag, I'm first things first is going to reduce its passive perception most definitely. It's still making full use of the strength. Dexterity, constitution all makes sense. Intelligence. However, being a Fey mold, I'm also going to increase its wisdom score just slightly. And just for the fun of it, reduce its charisma. Nice to meet you, but I'm on the DM side. Lol, glad to hear. Tardigrade fact. Tardigrades can cope with extreme high and low temperatures that would kill other organisms. Some species can survive exposure to negative 272 degrees Celsius, while others can withstand temperatures up to 150 Celsius, albeit for a short time. Hell yeah, the niche choice is amazing. So, I like this kind of stat change a bit, but there are two more things I want us to look at. Does this infected bullet have a different hit point balance than a normal one? I believe both increasing or decreasing it could make sense. As a symbiosis, you could say it has more internal organs or diversified organs in a sense that allow it to absorb some damage. Or, as the mold has eaten away a bit at the bullet, he might have less. What are people feeling for this creature? Shall we increase or decrease its effectiveness at being enduring to damage? Let's see. I think I'm feeling, as we've given it a new ability and a new resistance to charm and sleep, of reducing its hit points by its hit die count by one, making it 8d10s, which would reduce this first and foremost down to 40. Or no, that hit point modifier. So, a baseline of 40. Now, do we want to change its modifier as well? I mean, Rust Monster would be a cool to add to the fight, but you can change the rusting ability to like an ability like naturally reclaiming item, treats that are hags, dogs. So it would be resistance would be higher, but weaker to fire because it is more natural. Okay. So in that case, we'll go ahead and just do that reduction, making this now, instead of the 95 and 85, I believe, average hit points. So it sounds like you're wanting to add a damage vulnerability to this one. What do we think? Do we want to add a fire vulnerability to this creature? Or do we want to leave it as neutral? Not immune or resistant to any specific types of damage. Wood Bogus, if you're still here, we're on to the final steps of this fun little creature. Now I'd love if you have anything you'd want to add. West monsters are evil, like Disney evil. Agreed. Mm-hmm. And I already have. Definitely, I've reduced its hit points down by 10, which isn't massive, but certainly has an effect on a fight. So, I suppose I'll have to find vulnerabilities. I don't know if I've added those before. We'll take a quick look here. Condition immunities. So, not immune to charm, it's immune to sleep. It looks like that isn't an option. Very well. Yes, there's gotta be skills, movement. I don't know. That's fair enough, Wood Bogus. I just want to hear your opinion. Just on this one question. Should we make the bullets vulnerable to fire or leave them as they are normally? This mold hack can infect monsters. She could have brought just about any organic companion under his influence. And a rust monster would make Milk very scared. True, true, true. And we'll take a look at it, as there's a couple more things I want to add to this hag's retinue. Though we do already have our two beefcakes that I was looking forward to. Really want a smaller version of the gas spore creature growing on the shambling mound. However, the shambling mound would get poisoned as well, unless it causes decay. I mean, you can always add details in story. I think for now we've done quite a bit to this boy. So I'm going to oh no. Oh, please. Please don't have lost all that. Oh my god, no. My homebrew creations. Faye? Infected bullet? Spore breath, Faye symbiosis, 85. Okay. Woo! All of it's saved. So, let's pop back to the party. So we have our classic shambling mound and our Fae infected bullet. We've got our two wisps as scouts. Thank you for the bits, Gremlin. Party, party, party indeed. So, now all that's left, I think, are a few lesser minions to throw into the fight. Something A, for the party to have fun squashing. B, to absorb some damage, though probably only one or at most two hits. And C, to really finish off the flavor here. I really like this idea of this mold that we have, but now simply affecting smaller creatures, and so when they're damaged, they explode into a small AoE of different effects. Let's see if we can find something that might do a good job. Let's see here, plant. How about this? What is it, Gremlin? excited. I'm excited. Ooh, gas spores. Interesting. If you kill a monster affected by the spore, there's a DC save to not fall under the effect yourself. Okay. It seems a little one-shot kill, which is a bit cruel, I think, to a level 6 party. What do you think of that effect being? Something similar to an enchantment effect, where they get kind of a basic control, but can be thrown off by additional saving throws down the line? So not permanent, just something like you make a DC Wisdom saving throw every turn. Every turn that you fail, it gets to use you that turn. I do like that. Though we'll have to make them very slow, I think, to keep things a little balanced. Able to be picked off. Lest they scuff the encounter, true. So, I'm open to that. So we'll throw in a few of these. Now, we might reflavor these as infected squirrels, infected bunnies, small foxes, things that are on the field and have a bit of a stat block to them. We could have a mold AoE. Anyone blast starts having dreams and having the hag appear in their minds and start learning about them as they learn about her. I'm playing for the long game. Understood, understood. Though then that might be a secret effect I decide whether I keep later or not. Instead, what I think their in combat effect will be is I'm going to make 3 of these boys green and 3 of these boys blue molds. Now, what's the difference, you think, between green molds and blue molds? So, let's imagine right here we have a green mole rabbit, or a green mole fox, or, well, let's go look now, shall we? Let's look at some beasts. Poison, exactly. So we're going to look for some beasts anywhere from the 1/8 to the 1 range. And try to find some interesting forest creatures. Ooh, giant rat, I like. So we'll start with this idea, where we have a green molded giant rat. So it'll have the basic stats of a rat. 12 AC, 7 hit points, the ability to bite or use its pack tactics, though it's not entirely itself a huge threat. However, when a green mold is killed, it explodes in an area around it, causing a constitution saving throw versus taking a small amount of poison damage and becoming poisoned. The blue molds are something similar, except they do an AoE con save against becoming paralyzed. I quite like this encounter. A few different molds that you'll have to take some time to try to identify the difference with. A couple of beefcakes, one of which is infected, the other which might be able to be diverted, as it's not actually under the hag's control. A pair of scouts or subterfuges, a magical backline, and a few random mold effects that aren't huge problems, but if they get in the middle of the group, can lead the party down a very dangerous snowball. I don't know if hags are ultimately super into that idea of world domination as much as they are into learning everything they can, creating magical items, and remaining within the Fae for the most part. So, how does everyone feel about our newly created encounter with what I shall now call the Mold Hag? Yes, frogs, turtles, bats, and foxes. Perfect. A hag up and coming who believes she has a chance to become the big woman in her woods. Coming after the party after being tipped off by a hag who is much more powerful than her, and using her to take on the party. She has a pair of wisps under her command that she uses as invisible scouts and occasionally will electrocute the enemy and then disappear again, mostly concerned with their own preservation, though willing to help the hag. She possesses an army of mind-controlling molds, mostly infecting small beings, with one noticeable exception: a belay with a paralysis spore breath. And her, in all her cleverness, has gotten a shambling mound, honestly the highest CR of any of these creatures, to join her. However, the creature isn't beholden to her in any way, simply brought along by its hunger for flesh. Perhaps it can be distracted, or it'll have to be considered the biggest threat. Until the hag starts casting spells, that is. Y'all even met Perch, and you just create an encounter fully equipped to fuck with him. Perfect. All right, then, everybody. We're going to be moving in now to the very last element, and perhaps the most fun. What spells does our hag know? Now, our hag is a CR3, so I think it'd be fair to consider them at least a level 3 caster. Now, they already have some inherent casting ability to them. Let's go ahead and pull the hag back up. Oh, right. She's not a beast. So let's see. So, hags come with some at-will casting abilities. Vicious Mockery, Minor Illusion, Dancing Lights, but these are all her cantrips. At a level 3, I believe I would like to give her probably a little bit more than just a level 3 caster would have. Something to keep her a bit interesting. What do they cast as? What exactly do you mean, Gremlin Hunter? Oh, do you mean like, are we looking at Druid, Wizard, Sorcerer? I think what we can actually look into is, because Hagborn is a type of sorcerer, I believe we can go ahead and pull from both the Druid and Sorcerer spells, as I believe a hag would very easily have access to them. I also think if we want, we can dip into Wizard spells, though having restrictions I think is more fun than not. So let's go ahead and say Druid, Sorcerer. Now, let's pick 3 first level spells that she knows. Taking a quick look, let's see if we can first find anything in here that might relate to mold, paralysis, or something in the area she lives. Entangle is an interesting option, so is Fairy Fire. What is the second page? False Life. Fog Cloud. Okay, here's one we're definitely taking, I believe. Ray of Sickness. So, she will know 3 first level spells. That'll include Ray of Sickness, Beast Bond, Animal Friendship. Could be how she got the animals. True, though her mold would push in a different direction. I still think we could definitely have it. Witch Bolt, I think, is a very classic option. Let's see here. Was it so? Speak with animals or animal beast bond. Let's see here. You establish a telepathic link with one beast. Yes. So, what do we want? Do we want animal friendship or beast bond? This would be how she lures animals, I believe, into her infecting molds. This isn't exactly how she controls them, more so how she baits them. You could choose a beast so you can see within range of it. This is able to be charmed by use for the spell's duration if one companion. It ends the spell if it is harmed. A telepathic link, the spell fails if beast intelligence is 4 or higher. Until the spell ends, the link is active. You and the beast are within line of sight through the link. The beast can understand your telepathic messages. Telepath communicate. So this beast bond actually comes with no controlling elements, so I believe animal friendship will be what we give her. A way to charm creatures into her trap. Shoot. Perfect. And now, what is our final first level spell? Chaos Bolt, I like. Charm Person comes with some very dark implications. Entangle is always nice. So, I think I am torn between Entangled, Charm Person, and Witch Bolt. So, because y'all haven't had one in a while, let's go ahead and do a poll. Last spell. Witch Bolt, Entangle, or Charm Person. Of course, flavor them as vines or as one of those sticky, sucking molds growing out of the ground and just sticking to people's ankles and legs. The mold hag shall not be ignored. All right. The poll is up. Go ahead and vote if you have one you like. Witch Bolt, Entangle, or Charm Person? Is this where she keeps her attacking spells? Does she always depend on her creatures and simply will hold the enemy in place? Or are animals not the only things she leads to her molds? Come one, come all, and choose what her personality is. And while people have already voted for people hanging out, what do you think of this type of a D&D stream where I come in and kind of show you guys A, how I homebrew some creatures and abilities, B, let you guys build an encounter and play around with trying to kill my party. Nice. Second level spells are like Barkskin, Blindness, Deafness, truly evil spells. Hell yeah. I'm liking it. Hell yeah, Vulcan. It's a more sinister feeling. Hell yeah. All right. It's fun. I'm glad you guys are having fun. I didn't know if this would be kind of too slow, too jumping around to a bunch of different things. I'm really hoping it's a good enough pace and you guys are actually feeling like you're really influencing what I'm building here. It's nice to see how another GM works through this. Hell yeah. So, Vulcan, is there anything you do definitely differently than me? Any suggestions you might have or things you might be stealing from my style now? Oh no. We have a tie, everybody. With a tie, I like Witch Bolt because it can be much used to heal the shambling mound. Interesting. I think then it sounds like people might be even more interested in these. So, I believe, yes, the gremlin, unfortunately entangled, lost. I like it. We'll figure out how many spell slots she actually has, but I'm fine with having her know both of these. Witch Bolt and Charm Person. Now then, how many slots should she have? Let's take a quick look. Game rules. Let's look at sorcerers. And at their spells, at third level, they would have 4. Is this known spells? No, this is spell slots. They would have 4 first level spell slots. I like the stream. I DM, and it's nice to see how someone else handles it. Please let us know how it works out for them, like a death counter. I changed my vote to Charm Person if you want more stories with her. Oh, don't worry. I'll give her both, and she's very likely to get sniped at the beginning of this fight, if I'm being entirely honest. But I'd say, all right. I'm good with giving her 4 first level spells to match what a similarly leveled caster would have. However, I think I'm going to give her +1, in fact, just to show that she is a little clever. Did I play Witcher 3? Hell yeah, I did. No, and I do really like those hags. They are very disturbing to look at, and in fact, a bit of an inspiration for how I want my hags to look. A little self built in a way. Next, they will know 3 second level spells. Well, no, she's only going to know 2 second level spells. We bumped her up to 4 because the voting worked out that way, but we're not going to go too ham with this. So, let's go take a look at what our options are. By chance, did you play Witcher? Oh, yeah. No, I already read that one. Bye-bye. Alter Self, she already has. Animal Messenger could be interesting. Bark Skin. Touch a willing creature, they gain. Ooh. I don't think I want her to have the ability to increase the AC of her creatures. That seems a little too much. Blindness and Deafness. I'm putting on a possible list. Crown of Madness. I'm definitely taking. One moment. Crown of Madness, I think, visualized as a mushroom sprouting around their crown. What's the matter, Perch? Having a bad flashback of a different encounter. Detect thoughts, dragon breath, enlarge, find traps, flame bait, flaming sphere. Gust of wind, healing spirit, invisibility, restorations, misty step. Moonbeam is a fun one, but not one I'd imagine her to use. Protection from poison. See invisibility, shatter, spider climb, spike growth. The ground in a 20-foot center point emits spikes to become a difficult terrain. When a creature moves into or within the area, they take 2d4 piercing damage. I like spike growth. And web. I think I like spike growth a little more, honestly. Blur. I don't know if it quite matches her theme, but I'm willing to throw it on the voting list. Healing spirit. Blur is really good. I'll second spike growth. All right. So our next poll is coming up, I believe. So this is for the second level spell. We're going to have what? Spike growth, blur. I like Animal Messenger, but I don't think I'll actually put it. She already has control with her molds, after all. Blindness and deafness. Yes, and I think that'll be good. So the next poll is up. We have 3 options for the second level spell, all of which are quite sinister in how they work. Afflicting curses, creating a dangerous terrain, or becoming nearly unhittable. How does this hag like to fight? Blink as an escape? Ah, that's true. Misty Step would be fun. You know what? Is there a way to cancel a poll? Because I kind of want to add Misty Step into this. Yo, Sagmus, tired. Sorry, Purple Panzer. Erupting Earth. Is that second level? C, D, E. I'm not seeing it here. Just ignore the poll. All right, yeah. We're going to go ahead and ignore this poll, and I'm actually going to create a different one. Poll is already active. Oh, well. Ooh, okay. So you're already planning for third level. That's all right. That's all right. So guys, go ahead, ignore this poll, or keep in mind what votes you already put in. We're going to do it one more time, and I'm going to add in one more option just because it makes a lot of sense for her to have this spell, and I want it to be considered. No, no, no. We're not quite on 3 yet. We're choosing the last second level spell here. Though, based on the votes, I might actually take Blur out next time and replace it with Misty Step. Yeah, I think that's what we'll do. I do apologize for the scuff poll coming through. But we only have one more level of spell to look at. So things should be just fine. So keep that, I guess, in mind as we're doing our last second level vote. It'll be Spike Growth, Misty Step, and Blindness, and Deafness. So, is there a big bad for your campaign currently? So, the party is currently in pursuit of a character that I think, for their current level, is what their current arc's big bad is. They haven't encountered a character who's trying to end the world or anything along those lines. But right now, they're after a character that they believe burnt down their village in their backstory, killed a lot of people, performed some dark deeds, and they're going after them to take them out and prevent them from doing anything evil in the future. Not a big bad exactly, but a very personal bad. All right, and I've reposted the poll, everybody, and now we have Spike Growth, Misty Step, and Blindness and Deafness. If you voted for before, make sure you get your vote in again. How does she fight? An area of danger, keeping herself out of harm's way, or afflicting her enemies, causing mushrooms to grow from their eyes and ears. If the encounter is outside, plant growth is a massive AoE of difficult terrain as well. Hell yeah. Let's hear it. We're over halfway towards the end of the vote, everybody. Best get in your decisions now and see where things go. Oh, my third level spell plant growth would work on mound. Yeah. Well, let's see. Oh, I think we're gonna have something picked here. And here comes the end of the poll. And it looks like Spike Growth won. Very well. A very sinister spell. With plants firing poisonous darts, I think, in the way of a mold or a fungus, instead of simply spined plants growing from the ground. And here I believe she shall have 3 second level spell slots. Now we move on to the very last choice. Her ace in the hole. Her 1 third level spell. Let's take a look at what we can pick. Spitter plants from Crash Bandicoot. Hell yeah. Plant growth erupting up. So, we already have teleportation, so I think Blink is out. Call Lightning, Catnap, Clairvoyance, Conjure Animals is interesting. Counter Spell, if we want to be dicks. Enemies Abound. There was the big suggestion of erupting earth. You choose a point you can see on the ground within range. A fountain of churned earth and stone erupts in a 20-foot centered on the point. Each creature in the area must make a dexterity saving throw or take 3d12 bludgeoning damage. Additionally, the ground of that area becomes difficult terrain. Fear is interesting. Gaseous form. Hypnotic pattern. Stun locking an entire party. Lightning bolt, major image, meld into stone. Plant growth. Spell channels vitality into plants within a specific area. If you cast the spell using one action, choose a point within range. All normal plants, 100 foot centered on the point, become thick and overgrown. A creature moving through the area must spend 4 feet of movement for every 1 foot it moves. So even worse than difficult terrain. Can exclude one or more areas of many size. You can cast a spell over 8 hours to enrich the land. All plants become enriched, yielding twice the normal amount of food when harvested. Protection, sleet storm, slow. Speak with plants. Summon Fae, stinking cloud. Oh, there's quite a few I like here. But I will leave it all to you. As a Hail Mary, move I like it. Just theme it to be more sudden eruption of plant growth. Understood. So let's get up our last poll here. Her 3rd level spell. I believe we have Erupting Earth. Plant growth. I do like Stinking Cloud. What are some other fun ones? Honestly, I doubt it'll win. No, not Fear, actually. Stinking Cloud. Legend of Stone. Sleet Storm. Slow. Speak with Plants. I actually like both of those. So we'll go with Slow. And, of course, how she communicates with her fungus. Speak with Plants. All right. This is the final vote, everybody. The poll is up. You are choosing the hag's Hail Mary. The thing that she uses the most and is the foundation of her power. Is it an eruption of noxious plants? The growth of the area? A cloud of noxious spores? The ability to slow the enemy? Or how she communicates with her controlling creatures? The poll is ready. The poll is waiting. So please pick what this hag does. And simply because we're already bumped right up against my time, I will use the time of this poll to say thank you so much for everybody coming around. And thank you, Woodbogus, for the big danger redeem. I'm sorry our stream could not go into everyone's backstories, talking about the party and all that I promised, but we'll simply have to push that off to next time. I hope everyone had fun with building this dark, insidious encounter with me. I hope no one felt left behind without my plan coming out. What do you guys think? Did everybody have fun? Is everyone excited? And what do you think of our insidious little hag? Speak with plants is good for the long run. Hell yeah. Wow. What is a big win? That is a big win for plant growth. Yeah. And it is a big win for plant growth. Hell yeah. I love her. Hell yeah, you guys. And here we have our encounter. It is very dangerous at a first glance. And with all of these lasting effects each of these creatures can do, honestly, I think the party might be in a bit of a pickle. Okay, that's fair. Although I think she doesn't exactly communicate directly with the plants in this case. Since she doesn't have the spell, I would say she's able to make cooing noises or might have a magic item that allows her to do it, but is not something she's magically able to do herself. Still, thank you all for coming along. Yes, actually, she's going to have a magic amulet on her that allows her to speak with plants freely. Something that I think the party will be able to claim should they survive this encounter. Well, I hope everyone had tons of fun this session. Honestly, I had a great time building this with you guys, showing how I kind of make custom creatures, what I grab, and how I balance things. And I'm excited to sick this on the party when they're least expecting it. Don't worry, I will make sure to bring it up whenever this encounter actually happens and let everybody know how it went. But for now, thank you all for coming, and thank you, Wood Bogus, for the redeem. I hope the change of the entire plan to building this encounter was worth it. Please let me know if this lived up to your expectations for what the big danger redeem could be during my D&D streams. I hope everybody had fun and is feeling insidious. But for now, I must go. Next stream, however, we will hopefully be getting back on track and go over all of my characters' backstories. Yeah, this was unexpected but very fun. I'm glad to hear that. We'll learn about all of my party members, about their backstories and why they're here. And I'll keep you all informed whenever the mold hag makes her move. But for now, thank you for coming. Please come back next stream. I hope you all have a good night. See you next time.